Prosecutors say they are planning to seek the death penalty in the case of an Oklahoma man accused in the first beheading on American soil by someone who had apparently self-radicalized. The decision was made after the DA met with the victim's family and just shortly after Alton Nolen, also known as Yaquim Yisrael, was arraigned and ordered held without bond. Yisrael, a recent Muslim convert, is accused of beheading a coworker and attempting to behead another woman. He asked the judge if he can be represented by a Muslim attorney. The judge's response, we'll see. The FBI is currently investigating last Thursday's attack, which followed a series of high-profile beheadings, of course, by the terror group ISIS. In public, the mosque Yisrael worshipped at has denounced his alleged actions. But the mosque has also refused to speak with the Kelly File after initially agreeing to an interview. Watch this.
It seems that we're getting the runaround.
It's not a runaround. We're not doing any interviews. We're not speaking to anyone. We're stopping all media interviews. We're stopping everything now.
Now, with respect, sir, you told me not 10 minutes ago that I could speak to someone tomorrow morning.
And
said that
no.
Representative from CARE just called me back and said no.
Yep, we're all saying no. Everyone media-wise will have to leave. If not, I'll have to call the authorities.
Tonight, new information about this mosque from a man who says he attended prayers there. We are protecting his identity at his request, and for the interview's purposes, we will call him Noor. Noor, thank you for being with us tonight. So you attended this mosque, the very same mosque where Alton himself, Yisrael, attended. And what did you observe?
I observed the teachings of Islam. It took 2 years to learn what I know about Islam today. To the public, the mosque will not promote terrorism or any kind of radical acts, but when they're among friends and congregants only, they will promote the true teachings of Islam, which include the offer to non-Muslims, the choice rather, that you must convert, live under Islamic rule, or be fought against. Jihad fi sabilillah, jihad for the sake of Allah.
So behind closed doors, you felt that the mosque was much more radicalized than they let on to the general public. Well, let me tell you what they say now. They have come out in response to this beheading and condemned it. They say that their hearts and prayers go out to the victims, and they have expressed condemnation of his behavior and said he does not stand for Islam.
They'll say that to any media presence. However, when I was attending the mosque, I was specifically told, for example, concerning suicide bombings in Israel, that we do support these acts because, as it was told to me, this is the only weapon the Palestinians have, but do not mention this to the media because they would not understand.
I understand you had another incident where you were with two people from the mosque and there was a discussion about what they would do if Osama bin Laden himself showed up at their house. What happened?
That's correct. I had two friends at the mosque. One of them is now an imam. His name was Yahya Graf, and the other one was named Jihad Rashad. Both of them at the time attended the Islamic Society of Greater Oklahoma City. I'm unaware of where Yahya Graf is now. The last I heard, he was either in Houston or in Cairo, because I know that he, along with Sohaib Webb, both studied at Al-Azhar University in Cairo. Both of the subjects, the men, told me that if Osama bin Laden came to their door, they would invite him in and protect him because he was a brother Muslim, and we must protect him from those that don't believe.
Did they ever discuss the subject of beheadings? Was that ever discussed?
The only time that beheadings were discussed was in the means of which you confront the infidel, as it is related to in the Quran, that when you meet the unbelievers, you should smite at their necks.
That was a quote that was actually also on this defendant's Facebook page, which we saw ourselves. Now, did they talk publicly, I mean privately behind closed doors, about the need to act differently in front of the media? You made reference to that.
Absolutely. There's a teaching in Islam called taqiyya, which is deception. Muhammad, the prophet of Islam himself, even said that war is deception. And the reason that they are so deceptive is that when they cannot do jihad physically, They attempt to do jihad by means of stealth, by endearing themselves to the media, endearing themselves to government, endearing themselves to the American people to slowly work their way in. But they all believe in their religion, which teaches that, according to the Hadith in Sahih Muslim, that when you approach the non-believers, you must offer them a choice to convert, to live under Islamic rule and pay the jizya or poll tax and live in submission, or you will be fought against, which is jihad fi sabilillah, which is what you see now with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and various other groups throughout the world.
But clearly this can't be true of everyone who attends this mosque. I mean, they can't all be this radical.
Absolutely, not everyone. As Ayan Hirsi Ali has said herself, a Muslim will choose how much of their religion they wish to practice. However, the people that told me, the person that told me rather, about the concept of jihad and the choices that must be offered to non-Muslims was Imam Sohaib Webb, who was
the old imam at this mosque?
Yes, and he is now currently the imam of the Islamic Society of Boston.
Which is where the Tsarnaev brothers were going, the elder.
That's correct.
Okay, and he sounds like he is, this is him, this is a picture of him on the screen. He specifically was a teacher there to you, an imam there to you, and what specifically did he say?
He is the one that told me to not talk to the media about suicide bombings in Palestine or Israel. And he is the one that first told me about the concept of jihad, the teaching that Islam allows 3 choices to be made to non-Muslims, and eventually they're all going to have to make that choice to convert, to live under Islamic rule, or die.
I understand there was a time when you were invited to fire weapons north of Oklahoma City by somebody you met at the mosque. What happened there?
That's correct. The 2 individuals I was with were both fellow converts. One of them was, from what I'd been told, a Jewish convert to Islam named Suleiman. The other one was either in the military at the time or had just gotten out of the military, and his name was Rashid. They invited me to go shoot weapons. Now, I'm from Oklahoma. I have no issues with guns, so I just figured it would be a fun time with friends. However, when we got up there and we put out the targets, Suleiman said, well, this target is going to be George W. Bush, this target is going to be Ariel Sharon, and I don't remember what the other ones were, but they were famous people that were considered enemies to the faith.
I know you left the mosque because you felt it was too radical, and you've been back from time to time in more recent years. When was the most recent time?
The last time I was in the mosque was sometime in 2011.
And did you hear the same sort of discussions as you've been referencing?
Absolutely. The reason I was back in there was at the request of law enforcement. I can't say any more than that.
Really?
However, I was in there, and Imad Inchasi, who is now the current imam, who was a friend of mine, he was preaching a sermon that the Israelis were trying to collapse Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem by digging tunnels underneath it. And at the end of the sermon, they prayed for the Mujahideen, the holy warriors in Palestine, Kashmir, and in Iraq, which, as we all know, who is being fought in Iraq by the Mujahideen, the United States.
As I told the audience, we have been trying to get comment on the record from this mosque. So far, we have been unsuccessful, but we will try again to get a response to Noor's comments tonight. Thank you very much for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
So you just heard from Noor. Let us know your thoughts now during the break at facebook.com/The Kelly File, because in moments, former federal prosecutor Andrew McCarthy, the man who put the blind sheikh behind bars, will join us with his reaction to what we all